Hello everyone, and welcome to my CBS Wonderful Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Diane reveals Victor's secret child at NIKKI'S birthday party. The chandeliers in the Newman ranch glowed vocally, casting warm golden light across the living room where Genoa City's elite gathered in festivity. Nikki Newman's birthday was always an event, equal corridor fineness and emotional landmines, but this time felt different. There was an turnabout in the air, a subtle pressure that no quantum of champagne or polite grins could disguise. Nikki stood near the fireplace, radiant in a deep sapphire gown, accepting birthday wishes with rehearsed grace. Victor stood at her side, one hand resting possessively at the small of her back, projecting the image of the important, united Newman front. To the outside world, they were imperishable. To those who truly knew them, cracks had been forming for weeks. Across the room, Diane Jenkins watched. She held a flute of champagne she hadn't touched, her eyes surveying the guests: Jack, Kyle, Victoria, Nick, Sharon, Phyllis, indeed Adam moping near the edge of the room like a storm pall staying to break. Diane's lips twisted into a polite smile whenever someone met her aspect. But beneath the calm surface, her heart pounded. Tonight was the night. She hadn't planned it this way. Or perhaps she had. Diane had learned long ago that secrets had a way of rotting people from the inside out, and Victor Newman had been sitting on a secret so explosive it could rewrite the Newman heritage ever. Jack approached her still, lowering his voice. "You okay?" he asked, studying her face. "You look tense." Diane met his eyes. "I'm fine. Just bracing myself." "For what?" Jack asked. She didn't answer. Rather, her aspect darted back to Victor, whose sharp eyes, nearly artificially, set up hers at the same moment. The connection lasted only an alternate, but it was enough. Victor knew. He felt it in his gut. That old, familiar warning, the bone. That had saved him in boardrooms and backroom deals likewise. Commodity was coming. Commodity bad. Nikki tinkled her glass gently with a ladle, smiling warmly at the guests. "Thank you all for being there tonight," she said. "It means further to me than I can say. Family, musketeers, this room is filled with the people I love most." Victor leaned in and kissed her impertinence. Applause followed. Horse laugh. Cheers. Diane set her glass down. "Except," Diane said suddenly, her voice cutting fairly through the noise, "there's someone missing." The room fell quiet in a moment. Every head turned toward her. Victor's jaw tensed. "Diane," he advised, low and sharp. "This isn't the time." Diane stepped forward anyway, heels clicking vocally against the marble bottom. "Oh, I suppose it's exactly the time," she replied calmly. "Because Nikki deserves the verity. And honestly, so does everyone differently in this room." Nikki lowered, confusion crossing her face. "Diane, what are you talking about?" Jack moved closer, scarified. "Diane." She lifted a hand, stopping him. Her eyes no way left Victor. "For decades," Diane continued, "Victor Newman has erected his conglomerate on control. Control of his company, his family, his adversaries. But control only works as long as the verity stays buried." Victor took a step toward her. "Enough." "No," Diane said forcefully. "You don't get to silence me this time." Nick changed a look with Victoria. Adam folded his arms, intrigued. Phyllis's lips coiled into a slow, pleased smile. Diane turned back to Nikki. "Happy birthday, Nikki. I wish I could give you a gift rather of a stunner. But Victor formally gave you one, times ago. You just know I knew it." Nikki's face drained of color. "Victor, what's she saying?" Victor's silence was answer enough. "There's another Newman," Diane said easily. "A child Victor sired in secret. A child he kept hidden from you. From his family. From everyone." Gasps gurgled through the room. "That's a taradiddle." Victoria snapped. "My father would no way." "Wouldn't he?" Diane shot back. "Ask him." All eyes turned to Victor. He uncurled, drawing himself up to full height, the familiar sword returning to his expression. "This is none of your business, Diane." Oh, it came my business the moment you hovered my family to keep me quiet, she replied. The moment you assumed I'd be hysterical of you. Jack goggled at Victor. Is it true? Victor's aspect darted to Jack, also to Nikki. His voice was controlled, but strained. There are effects in my history, he said sluggishly, that I handled the way I believed was necessary. Nikki shook her head. Victor doesn't do this. Doesn't speak in mysteries. Tell me she's wrong. Diane gobbled sprucely. She's not. The room felt incredibly small now, the walls closing in. The child was born during one of Victor and Nikki's separations, Diane continued. The mama wasn't a foreigner. She was someone Victor knew well, someone who faded from Genoa City shortly after. Nick stepped forward. Who? Diane dithered, just long enough to let the pressure burn. Someone who gave birth in secret, she said. Someone Victor paid to vanish. Victor slammed his fist onto the table. That's enough. Nikki squinched. That response tells us everything, Phyllis said smugly. Wow, Victor. Indeed I didn't suppose you could sink this low. Victor rounded on her. Stay out of this. Adam's eyes narrowed. You always told me I was the family disappointment, he said still. Guess you just didn't want me asking questions. Victoria turned to her father. You need to deny this. Right now. Victor looked at his children, at Nikki. The silence stretched. Eventually, he exhaled. The child exists, he said. Nikki's breath caught. Oh my God. But, Victor added forcefully, I did what I did to cover my family. To cover yourself, Diane corrected. Because that child would have changed everything. Jack shook his head sluggishly. How could you keep this from her? Victor's voice softened, just a bit. Because I knew it would destroy her. Nikki laughed weakly, gashes filling her eyes. You don't get to decide what destroys me, Victor. You formally did. She turned down from him, bracing herself against the fireplace mantel. Where is this child now? Nick demanded. Diane met his aspect. Near than you suppose. The words landed like a projectile. Adam strengthened. Victoria's eyes widened. What does that mean? It means, Diane said, you've all met them. You've talked to them. You've trusted them. A stupefied hush followed. Nikki turned sluggishly. Victor, tell me she's lying. Victor closed his eyes. That was each it took. Nikki let out a sob, covering her mouth. I stood by you through everything. Every treason. Every taradiddle. And this is how I find out? Jack moved to her side, placing a steadying hand on her shoulder. Victor reached for her but she pulled down. Don't touch me, Nikki rumored. Diane's voice softened, not with sympathy, but with futurity. The verity always comes out, Nikki. Indeed at a birthday party. Victoria's voice quivered. Who's it? Diane turned toward the doorway. The frontal door opened. A figure stepped outside. And Victor Newman's precisely constructed world eventually shattered. The door unrestricted vocally behind the figure who had just entered the Newman ranch, but the sound echoed like thunder in the stupefied silence. Every discussion stopped. Every breath sounded suspended. The air itself felt heavier, charged with the kind of disclosure that permanently altered lives. Victor Newman didn't turn around at first. He didn't need to. He knew exactly who stood behind him. Nikki's hand quivered as she gripped the edge of the mantel. Victor, she rumored. Who's that? Sluggishly, plaintively sluggishly, Victor turned. The person standing there wasn't dressed dramatically. No grand entrance, no trim smile. Just quiet jitters and eyes filled with questions, fear, and commodity dangerously close to resentment. Claire. Victoria's blood ran cold. No, she breathed. That's not possible. Claire swallowed hard, her aspect bouncing around the room until it landed on Diane. You said tonight, she rumored. You said they'd know. Diane jounced formally. I promised you the verity. Nikki goggled at Claire, her expression torn between unbelief and forming horror. Victor, she said again, more forcefully now. Tell me this isn't what I suppose it is. Victor opened his mouth but no sound came out. Adam let out a sharp laugh, breaking the silence. You've got to be kidding me. Nick turned on his father. Clay. His voice cracked. She's been around this family for months. Victoria stepped forward, shaking her head violently. She's manipulating us. This is some sick game. Claire's eyes filled with gashes. I didn't ask for this, she said. I didn't indeed know until lately. Nikki looked from Claire to Victor. You knew, she said, consummation washing over her. You knew the whole time. Victor eventually set up his voice. I knew who she was, he admitted. I didn't know she'd come back into our lives this way. This way. Nikki cried. You brought her into our root. Into our family. You let me smile at her. Talk to her. You let me bond with her. Jack stepped between Nikki and Victor artificially. That's insupportable. Victor bristled. Stay out of this, Jack. No, Jack snapped. You don't get to hide behind intimidation presently. Diane watched it all unfold, her face undecipherable. Claire is Victor Newman's son, she said easily. Born during a separation. Raised down from Genoa City. Kept hidden to cover Victor's image and his marriage. Nikki staggered back, lowering herself onto the lounge. All those times, she rumored. All those times I asked if there was anything differently, anything he hadn't told me. Victor knelt in front of her. Nikki, I was trying to cover you. She laughed plaintively. You keep using that word. Cover. But all you ever did was cover yourself. Victoria turned on Claire. You knew, she indicted. You knew who you were and still fitted yourself into this family. Claire shook her head. I set up out months ago. Victor tracked me down first. He prayed me to stay down. Victor looked up sprucely. I didn't supplicate. Claire met his eyes. You offered me plutocrat. You offered me silence. The room erupted. Phyllis clapped her hands formally. Oh, this just keeps getting better. Nick turned to Victor, rage stewing beneath his calm surface. You paid off your own son. I did what was necessary, Victor snapped. Adam stepped near to Claire, studying her face. So what? You're the new Newman heir at law. The secret relief? Claire strengthened. I don't want anything from you. Funny, Adam said darkly. That's what they all say at first. Nikki sluggishly rose to her bases. I need to know, she said, her voice pulsing but resolute. Why her mama no way came to me. Why I no way knew. Claire did it. Diane answered for her. Because Victor hovered to destroy her life. Victor's eyes flashed. That's a taradiddle. She has evidence, Diane said calmly. Letters. Bank transfers. Non-disclosure agreements. Jack goggled at Victor, stunned. You buried her. Victor's silence verified it. Nikki wiped her gashes angrily. I defended you for decades, she said. I stood against my own children for you. And you looked me in the eye every single day knowing this. Victor reached for her again. Nikki, please. Get down from me, she said, her voice breaking. I don't fate you. Victoria's countenance eventually shattered. You destroyed our family, she screamed at Diane. You planned this. Diane met her fury without recoiling. Your father destroyed your family. I just stopped lying about it. Nick turned to Claire. What do you want? Claire did it. I want the verity to stop being buried. Adam scoffed. Good luck with that. This family runs on buried trueness. Nikki uncurled her shoulders. Also let it burn, she said still. Because I won't live in ignorance presently. Victor's eyes widened. Nikki. I want you out of this house tonight, she said. My birthday gift to myself is honesty. The words hit Victor harder than any poke ever could. You can't be serious, he said. I am, Nikki replied. Go to the office. A hostel. Hell, go to Diane's if you suppose she'll have you. Diane scowled. Hard pass. Victor stood firm as security still approached. For the first time in decades, Victor Newman was being attended out of his own home. As the door closed behind him, Nikki collapsed into Jack's arms, blubbing. Victoria goggled at Claire, her expression cold wave. This isn't over. Claire met her aspect. I know. Adam leaned in toward Nick. Newman Civil War, season perpetuity. Nick soughed. Yeah. And nothing wins. Diane watched Nikki cry, Victor banished, the Newman dynasty cracking in real time. For formally, she didn't feel victorious. She felt relieved. But secrets have foresharks. And this bone was just beginning. The Newman ranch had no way felt so concave. After Victor's departure, the house remained filled with people, yet it felt eerily empty, as if the walls themselves were absorbing the shock. Exchanges were rumored. Spectacles went untouched. The birthday cutlet sat forgotten on the dining table. Candles melted into pools of wax like time itself had stopped. Nikki sat alone in the living room now, wrapped in a capelet Jack had placed around her shoulders. The party was over in every sense that signified. I should have known, she muttered, gaping into the fire. There were always gaps. Always effects he refused to talk about. Jack knelt in front of her. You trusted him. That's not her excrescence. She looked at him, eyes glassy. In this family, it feels like one. Upstairs, Victoria paced her bedroom like a boxed beast. Her phone buzzed endlessly, dispatches from Newman Enterprises directors, journalists formally smelling around, board members demanding answers. She ignored them all. Rather, she goggled at herself in the glass. Her father had erected her worldview slip-up by slip-up. Strength, fidelity, control. And now, with one disclosure, the foundation had cracked. Claire. Victoria's jaw tensed. She seized her fleece and stormed out of the room. Down the hall, Claire stood near the guest bedroom, arms wrapped around herself, bracing for impact. She'd anticipated wrathfulness. She'd anticipated rejection. What she hadn't anticipated was the suffocating silence. Victoria stopped elevation from her. How long? She asked coldly. Claire swallowed. How long what? How long were you going to keep pretending? Victoria snapped. Smiling. Hearkening. Letting us treat you like some inoffensive stranger? Claire met her aspect. I wasn't pretending to watch. That makes it worse, Victoria said. Because caring doesn't reason treason. I didn't betray you, Claire said still. Victor betrayed all of us. Victoria's hand quivered. For a split second, it looked like she might poke her. Rather, she stepped back, voice shaking with fury. You don't get to say us. Not yet. She turned and walked down. Claire closed her eyes, gashes discovering freely now. In the foyer, Diane watched Victoria vanish down the hall. Jack approached her cautiously. You knew this would explode, he said. Did you suppose about the fallout? Diane exhaled sluggishly. Every night. And you still did it. Yes, she said. Because Victor no way stops unless someone forces him to. Jack studied her. You didn't just expose a secret. You changed the power structure of this family. That was always going to be, Diane replied. The Newmans run on Victor's authority. Take that down, and everything shifts. At the Newman Enterprises Superintendent Services, Victor stood alone in his private suite, gaping out over Genoa City. The lights below glistered like an area that suddenly felt veritably far down. He hadn't lost control before, not like this. His phone chimed. He ignored it. Also it chimed again. This time, he answered. Say it, he growled. Whatever you suppose you need to say. Nikki's voice came through the line, calm but icy. I've spoken to a council. Victor closed his eyes. Nikki. I want a separation, she said, incontinently. The words hit harder than Diane's reveal. This is a mistake, Victor said. No, Nikki replied. The mistake was believing you could keep rewriting reality and I'd no way notice. She hung up. Victor lowered the phone sluggishly, rage stewing beneath the face. Diane Jenkins, he murmured. You've just declared war. Meanwhile, Adam sat in the dim lighting of society, nursing a whiskey. Nick slid into the seat across from him. So, Adam said dryly. Secret family. Didn't see that one coming. Nick rubbed his tab.